everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and today I have a layout to share for Cocoa Vanilla Studio. I am using the fabulous Happy Days collection, which makes me so happy. I have tons and tons of holiday photographs to scrapbook, so I just love the bright colours in this collection and I keep just being drawn back to it because I have so many photos. We have a holiday home in a sunny country of Lanzarote and we're always there, so I have lots and lots of photos. So these 3 photos are from a day where we went paddleboarding, and I had some great little photos to scrap there. So I really, the whole time I've been using Happy Days, I've been completely in love with that paper with all the words on it. I don't have paper names in front of me, so it might be called Definitive or something like that. But it's definitely been one of my favourite papers. I had one sheet which I fussy cut all the words out of and use them for various things, and then I had another sheet which I didn't feel I could use as a full sheet, but I wanted to use in chunks. So for this one I've cut 4 lines to go at the very top of my layout. I've paired that with a couple of colourful strips of pattern paper, the floral and the pink strawberries. I've just crisscrossed those underneath that section at the top. I'm going to distress the edges of all of those, of course. And then I'm going to wrap some twine, or it's actually embroidery floss, around the layout. I had an idea that I was going to wrap lots of twine around and use and kind of clip or peg my photos to the thread or the twine. But then I realised I didn't have any thread or twine with me because I'm scrapbooking away on holiday in our holiday home. And I forgot my bag of twines and flosses and strings and things. Basically, I came away without it by accident. So I had this one tiny piece of embroidery floss left. So I did what I could, but I would have had a lovely big bow, and I would have perhaps used paper clips, but because I didn't have much thread, I could only go round twice. I didn't feel that it really worked. So, these things happen when you travel and you take things with you. You always forget something, right? So, and that's what I forgot this time. I also forgot my metal dies, which I was quite upset about, but never mind. Right, so here I am putting my small amount of embroidery floss around my layout. See, I've crisscrossed again. I've gone with the whole crisscross thing where I've got the 2 colourful paper strips as well, and I'm just putting that, just securing them on the back with some tape. And you can see there that I've got the whole little border thing going on underneath the big chunk of words at the top. And then I've got my 3 photos that I somehow have to fit onto this layout, and I've printed them in different sizes. So I've got 1 large-ish one and then 2 smaller ones. So and they are fairly large altogether. Certainly they take up a big chunk of the layout, and I tend to like scrapbooking with smaller photos, but on this occasion I thought the photos were so good that they warranted being printed in that kind of size. And then I just had to kind of make it work. And I'm still aiming for this kind of washing line type effect where I could tuck my photos or anchor my photos to that string area or to where the border is anyway. So that's what I was kind of aiming for. You can see there that I've tucked my middle photo under the word paper, and I've also tucked my left photo under the word paper as well, while the photo on the right is a bit lower down. And then I've got the bow in place that I've tied with the embroidery floss, and that can just sit above my photo. So that was all working quite well. I'm pretty happy with how it's all working out. I've put one of those beautiful golden frames from the speciality sheet underneath the photo on the left. I'm just trying to figure out what else I can include on the layout. I'm looking through my ephemera pieces, which are all beautiful, of course, the florals, which are my favourite thing ever. And I'm just putting a few areas of colour and embellishment onto the layout. And I need to think about my title as well. Obviously, I've got all the words at the top, but I want to include a proper title as well. I've got Best Ever from the chipboard titles, but which I figured I would use, but when I pulled it out of the chipboard surround and tried to arrange it onto the layout, it just wasn't working for me. It just didn't look right. I think because they're the same size word, I feel like I needed a large word and a small word. or 2 different fonts or something like that. And because they were quite similar size, I only had to go in a row, and they just didn't look quite right stacked. Anyway, I wasn't feeling it. So I think I ended up going off screen and fiddling around with it until I came up with something that I was happy with. That you can see that I keep moving things around. Here we go. Right, so I've spent a bit of time off camera getting everything stuck down, and then I decided to split my title. So I had Best sitting under the photo on the left, and then Ever sitting under the photo on the right, and they fit perfectly in those gaps, but they didn't fit anywhere together perfectly. So that's why I struggled with that slightly. I've also put the word day on the very bottom corner of the middle photo. So I've got Best Day Ever, although the word day is pretty small and you can't see it particularly well. So, but it is there. And that's what I'm going with. So again, going back to the whole washing line strip thing, I wanted to anchor some embellishments at the top there, but I also didn't want to cover up the 2 pattern paper strips that I'd got under the words paper. So I just went for a small piece of ephemera, just a label, and then the word yay, which is in a little banner shape on yellow, which was just brought in another pop of yellow, which is one of my favourite colours to scrapbook with. And then I've got my little embellishment clusters in the same 2 areas that I originally started with. So just getting it all stuck down. I'm adding some sparkle with some sequins. I love Spiegel Mum scrap sequins. They're my favourite sequins on the planet. Having used many others as well, but they're definitely my favourite. And I got to a point where I had a whole load of mixes that only had a few sequins left in. So I put them all together and made my own mixes, if you like, of kind of a tropical one and a Christmassy one and a wintry one, that kind of thing. And the sequence I've used today is one of those mixes that I just kind of put together myself with random ends of packets. So I can't tell you what mix it was because it's a whole mixture of gazillions and I don't know which ones. I've also added a couple of word stickers from the sticker sheet underneath the little embellishment clusters on the right. I love how that extends that cluster down a bit, and then I'm extending it further with my journaling, which I'm writing in a little grey pen. Yes, it's all pretty much finished now, coming together nicely. I'm happy with how that's looking. I mounted the middle photo onto yellow again to make it pop a little bit more. I'm just going to finish off now with some splatters of white paint. And I'm doing that over the top of my embellishment clusters. And there we go. That is done. I'm going to call that done. So I hope you have enjoyed seeing this layout come together. I loved making it. I really enjoyed making it. I love that I've got these photos scrapped. I love Happy Days, so I'm delighted to be using that again. And thank you very, very much for joining me, and Happy New Year. So that was Nikki Rowland for Cocoa Vanilla Studio.